Hey everyone, it's Annette with ASCardDesign. Welcome back to my channel. I'm really glad you're here today because I am going to show you how to make a super easy, fun note card using embossing folders. If you're a card maker, you have embossing folders in your stash. I know you do. So we're going to use a 3D embossing folder and let's just get right to it. Let me switch down to the table cam. And today I am going to be using this 3D embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp, and this is called Fresh Sprigs. You can use any embossing folder for this technique. This is the one I'm going to use today, and I'm going to be using GinaKDesigns Pigment ink in white, and we're going to do some warm cocoa just around the edges of our panel, just to give it a little something something. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using a craft cardstock for my panel, and I want to bring in my Sizzix Big Shot to emboss this thing here. And let's see, let's get this open. And for my machine, for my embossing folder, I just need my bottom plate, the embossing folder, which, what did I do with it? Here it is. And my top plate. Okay, so that is my particular sandwich. So you just follow what your machine requires for 3D embossing folder if that's what you're doing. So when you're using the 3D embossing folder or any embossing folder, I want my design to be raised up. Okay, so I want it to pop up on top of the card. So I want the raised part of the embossing folder. So you have two sides. This side, you can feel the edges, this is raised up and this dips down. So you want the part that's raised up, you want that to be on the bottom of your cardstock because you want it to push up through. So that's how my cardstock is going to go in there. But before I do that, I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I just have a little bit of rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle, and I'm going to spray lightly both sides of this cardstock. I'm going to do it off to the side. And this just helps the fibers in the card to stretch so you don't get cracking. At least that's the plan. I've done this and I have had cracking, so I don't know. It does help. It does help, I believe. So I'm just going to get this in here as straight as I can, and sometimes I struggle with this, just lining it up, because I've already cut this panel to the size of my the panel that I want the end result. So I have all those measurements in the description below. If you just click on more, you'll see that. So there you go. And then the other tip I have is, if you're new to card making, you just want to, you can run it through your machine straight on, but these are very thick. These folders are thick, and it will take a beating going through, and you can crack them actually and split them in two. So if you just turn it on an angle a little bit so the corner goes through the rollers, there's a roller system in here. You want that corner to go in first. It goes in nice and easy, as you can see. And just run it through. Right. And then you can take your panel out, and you can see that beautiful raised design. See all that dimension? Really, really pretty. But we're not done yet. We're gonna really make that come alive. Let me just clear some space here. Put this on the floor. I don't have any floor space left. And then I'm just going to put this down, and what we're going to do first is we're just going to take some brown, a color similar to the craft. So I'm just using GinaKDesigns Warm Cocoa, and I just want, really, I'm just taking my brown brush, and I used this not long ago. Whatever's on my brush, I just want to go around and see how much is on here. And you can see it's adding a little bit of color, just a hint, okay? But I really want to deepen that up. So I am going to go in with a little more. Let me get my ink stand here. And I just want to be really go in light because you can always add, and I'm just hitting the corners. I kind of want to give it an antiqued look, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see it's getting, looks like it's been around a little bit. And we'll do the same at the bottom, a little bit on the edges. I think the white pigment ink will go over that, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here in a second. And then it's really get the corners dark. Down in here. Sometimes I'll even go like that. So I just kind of want to give it that aged look. So we're going to stop there. And then all you have to do for these 3D embossing folders is just take some white pigment ink. Now this really works well on colored cardstock, navy, black. I'm using craft today. It would even look pretty if you just did a piece of white cardstock and just embossed it. Those look very elegant. And then just mat it on a white layer and put it on a white card base, and just that white on white on white looks really elegant. So anyway, I'm just going to take my ink pad and I'm going to rub it right on top of this embossed design, and you want a very, very, very light hand, okay? So just barely brush over it. Just let the pad just gently touch that raised area. And if you get some onto the panel, that's fine. And it doesn't all have to be white. You know, you'll see some brown popping through, and that's perfectly fine. And then you can hit individual flowers if you want them a little whiter. So that's how you make these 3D embossing folders or embossed images just come alive. And there we have it. And you can see I got a little bit up here on the card panel. No worries, it's all good. Okay, and then for this card, instead of mounting it on black, like I usually do, I'm going to use this pretty, like a seafoam green, or looks like blue actually, like maybe sea glass. That's not the color of the cardstock. I'm just making that up, but well, that's what it reminds me of. I'm pretty sure I got it at Michael's in a paper pack, like a blue or blue-green paper pack. So who knows what the color is. And that is not what I wanted to do. I thought this was my panel, so that was a little mistake. I guess I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So let me grab another panel. I'm pretty sure I have another one that color. Oh my goodness, Annette, really? I'll just let that dry and then I'll use that for scraps. Okay, so I want glue on this. You want to glue the panel to the matte layer. So I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in. It happens. We all make mistakes. Okay, so let me zoom out a little. All right, so I'm adhering the panel onto the matte layer. Okay, I'm just kind of eyeballing the margins. I am way off. I got to bring it in closer. Okay, that looks better. Okay. That's pretty. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it onto my card base. I need to get this gluey panel away before I make a mess. And then I'm just gonna get my card base ready. You can buy mats and panels and card bases pre-cut, but I cut my own. I just buy cardstock and I just cut down my own. I like cutting paper. I mean, I don't always come to my craft room to make a card. Sometimes I'm just stamping a bunch of sentiments and then I'll let the ink dry and then die cut them out. Sometimes I'll just cut paper and have panels, and it comes in handy. As you can see, I had to grab another piece and right there it was. So, all right, so then you want to glue your panel onto your card base. Okay. Now you have, this is just such a quick card. And all we have to do is put a greeting on there, okay? And for this one, I've been making a lot of thinking of you cards. I just think you can't have enough thinking of you or birthday cards if you're a card creator. I don't know, when I'm just cutting greetings, I tend to do the thinking of you and the birthday greetings or sentiments quite often. So, you know, I like to nestle my sentiments kind of close into the focal point. So I don't want it kind of free floating out here. So I'm going to pull it in to right in this area. Okay. Of course, I got glue all over me. It's just sticking. So that is it. That is my finished card project. All right, simple, easy. I don't even know, this video is probably a record time for me because there's not a whole lot of different techniques. But anyway, you don't need to be fancy. You don't need a lot of the tools and things. Just a simple embossing folder with, if you use colored cardstock, have some pigment ink on hand. Again, you can use white and just, you know, white with a black mat. And here's just a sample. I keep it in my embossing folder container. I like, when I get embossing folders, I just like to emboss right away, just kind of see what the design looks like. And then I just put it in with the embossing folder as a sample. But you could just see, just white looks so pretty. So, all right. Well, that is my finished card project for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. I put a video up every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and I'd love to have you each week. And until next time, make it a great week.